Addressing the last issue, why it's critical? Because to have active and operational business is critical for your PR submission. But what's critical to remember? After PR is obtained, the failure of the business, as IRCC confirmed from day one of this program, is not an impediment. As a great majority of business fail anyway. It's like 50-50 chance that business will survive. Doesn't matter which industry you're talking about. Doesn't matter which country you're talking about. The estimation is probably the same. 50-50 chance the business will survive. That's like divorce. 50 people, 50 families end up in divorce. That's statistical data. You cannot argue about that. And RCC, second complement to RCC, reasonable assessment. Yes, when you get your PR and your business fail, well, that's okay. You can keep your PR. And immigration is quite clever about that from day one of the program. But RCC is actively looking for such signals or red flags of no intention to carry business after PR, or kind of shady agreements on how to this business will operate on a post PR status. And I have practical examples of that. People coming to me and saying, "Listen, we don't have any intention to carry business." I say, "Well, that's too bad. We cannot serve you because you lie from the point zero. Why? How can we represent you? Because you unethically asking me to lie with you. So intention must be there. We have to try. If you fail and you try, that's okay. But if you have no intention to go through the business after PR is obtained, well, that's a different story." And people come into me sometimes with practical arrangements that they say, "Well, listen, we have this doctor and doctor is so good, we have to bring him here, but you know what, he's just a guy who will help us advisory and whatnot, and obviously in that regard we have the arrangement that we will bring him here, but the arrangement is that he will play no part in business whatsoever." That's shady arrangement. And guess what, if immigration discover that your reputation will be tainted, government will reject the file, misrepresentation may be at stake. Why suffer such an enormous stress for simple reason? Money. If you maintain your reputation, you will earn more, you will build your reputation, people will pay, people will be happy to deal with you. So one of the ethical issues that related to startup visa, don't sacrifice your integrity if you have shady arrangement and people offering you money for that. It will bite you back. Next, flexibility for additional documents. Oh, so many times, especially uh, during submission. Of course, many documents not available, especially during COVID lockdowns. And like, for example, right now we still can submit without IELTS test if we have registration, but test is not available. That's a biggie because people suffer. Just imagine from the practical standpoint, you have 6 months of validity for your certificate and you simply cannot get the test done because everything is on lockdown. That happened last year a lot. We never stop submissions, not even for 1 month, not even for 1 week. We actually increased the amount of submissions over the last year. Why? Because we negotiated with the government and we approached them directly and we asked, okay, this is the case. We need your exception. And actually, I don't know if it's our reasoning or whatever, but we got permission, but then like a month, a few weeks later, we got official notification that government actually issued this warning that people can supply or submit files without IELTS, which was great actually. And I think some pressure came not only from, I'm not taking as a credit, but some offices definitely asked for the same, and pressure was enormous because of lockdown. But reasonably speaking, the startups in general, and again, you have to apply practical knowledge. Startups in business, usually given by accountants, by investors, by people involved, up to 20 months to start doing something, depends on circumstances. And that's the expectation. People say, why government is expecting something from me from day one? No, that's not the right question, the right question, what government is expecting you to provide within first month, within 6 months, within 20 months, and you cannot walk by the time you're 14, people will question your ability to walk altogether, right? Same goes about speaking. So we can allow, I heard this joke, I like this joke. That's why in school, they have tables for beginners so small so the grown-ups can fit in, right? So we have to be reasonable. How many months we can let people try if they're not trying? That's the right expectation, guys. You have to practice, again, common knowledge and practical approach. Apply both, mix it together, see what business is doing, how they do, what they intend to do. Advise them, if you cannot, advise them to talk to business advisors, talk to business lawyers, okay? And sometimes I see personally the role of investors is critical, paramount, because investors, good investors, good designated organizations can guide people, not just take their money and run, but advise them, okay? And also, people ask me all the time, guys, practically speaking, how the hell government is going to check your information? Well, with this publicity, social media, corporate websites, internet activities, everything is open. Pretty much everything government want to get on you is available. So the first thing government is looking for is your public records, how your business is active. Do you have web page? Do you have a website? Is it active, or just, picture, the frozen picture that's stuck there for 2, 3, 4, 6 months? People can trace it. People don't understand. Simple action brings activity up and provide what we call in the industry organic growth, right? So, and applicant must be actively engaged in business, because basically if the applicant is distant from the business activity, all federal cases pretty much for the last few years all related to inactivity of the applicant or the whole team in participating in active business, active and operational business. Maybe you don't have a license, maybe you don't have copyrights, maybe you don't have trademark, maybe you don't have anything that shows that you actually, maybe you didn't even open the company or business account, or Canada revenue report wasn't filed for 2 years. You have to do everything that normal business would do in situation when they actually active and operational. Yes, the predicament is here, and I totally understand that. We have to discuss that in case by case scenario. But when people say federally, well, what if we're not there? Well, first of all, you have your investor there. You have, if you have a real one and good one, they will help. And obviously the work permit is there for you to obtain and to come to Canada and build the business, participate. And internet was critical, by the way, for, that's why we have no rejections over the last year. I mean, before too, but I mean, critically speaking about COVID time, when all travels were restricted. A lot of people suffer when they build brick and mortar business, but not startups, because we easily transferred our communication online in the virtual space and work in the cloud. And it was very, very engaging. And it was very helpful because the process was obvious.